This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, Heather Ho, there's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe Birthday Boy. I know that normally I do a birthday boy on someone who's still alive and all that, but May 30th I finished my players and all that I don't do the same guy on the birthday boy twice in a row, but anyway. Um, so this guy was legendary. He only spent 7 years in the NFL. Yeah, he's still in the Hall of Fame because of his efforts and all that. He had a trying time. He had some good stuff on the field, but off the field, he had a lot of injuries. He had a teammate that had been an inspiration to him and led to a TV movie. And of course, at age 34, he's still the youngest player to receive the Hall of Fame era. All that. And only one of 5 players in the Super Bowl era to be enshrined in the Hall of Fame without even playing a postseason game. He's part of the 75th. He was a part of the 75th at 100th anniversary teams. His name is Gale Sayers. He was born May 30th, 1943 in Wichita, Kansas. He was raised in Omaha. Gale Sayers' younger brother actually played in the AFL for the San Diego Chargers. So anyway, many Midwestern colleges recruited him, but Sayers decided to go to the University of Kansas. He relayed a story years ago that he intended to go to Iowa, but the Iowa head coach did not have time to meet Sayers during his one campus visit, so he practically thought it was a spurn, so he decided to go to Kansas. He did quite well for himself. 3 times an All Big Eight selection and was part of the All America team in 63 and 64, so he knew what he could do. Sayers led the Big Eight conference, well, soon to be the Big 12, but the Big Eight at the time, and was third in the nation with 1,125 rushing yards, which was pretty good for a sophomore. Freshmen were not allowed to play on the varsity squad in the NCAA back in the 1960s. So anyway, he had a 283-yard game against Oklahoma State, which was pretty amazing. Sayers would have a 99-yard touchdown run for Kansas against Nebraska, which is, of course, the longest you can have, and all that. He led the Big Eight in rushing, all that, and actually helped Kansas shock Oklahoma in the senior year of 1964. The 1965 NFL draft happened, and the Bears had back-to-back picks. The Giants went first overall and took Tucker Frederickson from Auburn. Big mistake. San Francisco took Ken Willard, a fullback from North Carolina, which was kind of a mistake. The Bears were their first of their two automatic 2 picks. Well, the pick that they took from Pittsburgh took Dick Butkus from Illinois. That was a super pick. And then with their natural pick, they took Gale Sayers. It was pretty good, though. Craig Morton was next to be drafted by, and that was by Dallas. Regardless, he was also picked 5th overall in the AFL draft by Kansas City, who needed a good running back themselves. But he decided to stay in Chicago, kind of Midwest. Well, although Kansas City is also Midwest, but yeah, he decided to go to the NFL. Smart move, buddy, because he had a year for the ages in 1965. He actually had a game against Minnesota in October of 1965 that he ran for a touchdown, he caught a touchdown, and then he had a kickoff return for a touchdown. He needed it too because the Bears only won by 8 points over the Vikings. In fact, he was the last player to do so with a rushing, receiving, kickoff return until Tyreek Hill did that in 2016. Nevertheless, his best was yet to come. December 1965, he tied Ernie Nevers and Dub Jones's record for touchdowns in a single game with 6 of them. In a 61-20 win over San Francisco at Wrigley Field, where the Bears played their football for a while. He did quite well for himself. He was NFL Rookie of the Year. Well, why wouldn't he be? He put up an NFL record 22 touchdowns, 14 running, 6 receiving, 1 punt return, and 1 kickoff return for a touchdown. It was huge what he could do in his rookie campaign, nevertheless. So anyway, he was always quoted saying, "Just give me 18 inches of daylight. That's all I need." Well, anyway, in 1966, Sayers led the NFL in rushing with 1,231 yards, becoming the first Bears player to win the rushing title in 17 years. He did better with the kick return and all that. His all-purpose yards, running, receiving, and returns, got 2,440 yards. Still, well, that was the NFL record. All that. So yeah, the Bears didn't do so well, but Gale Sayers was the huge thing. Sayers did well. He would actually share the running duties with Brian Piccolo. Things actually went lower and all that. He rarely returned punts anymore. Yeah, so anyway, he did pretty well for himself. He got to the Pro Bowl. The Bears were only one game above 500. But unfortunately, though, injuries would catch up to him. By 1968, he looked pretty good. In a game against the Niners, Herbert Alexander of the Niners hit him so bad that he tore several ligaments in his right knee, including his ACL, MCL, and his meniscus. It was amazing. And Sayers actually was the league rushing leader at the time of his injury. He went through a physical rehab program and all that. He missed the Bears' final 5 games, but he still got first team All Pro and all that. In 1969, after slow start, and because of diminished speed and acceleration due to the knee, Sayers was still a rushing title holder with 1,032 yards. He picked up second place in the running yards of the Bears behind the great Bronco Nagurski. He was named Comeback Player of the Year, despite the fact the Bears were 1-13. All that. He was still pretty good and all that. Unfortunately, though, in the 1970 preseason, he suffered a second knee injury, bone bruises to his left knee. He tried to play through the injury, but it did not help and all that. He decided during his off time, from his surgery that he'd be out for the year. He took classes to become a stockbroker and became the first black stockbroker in his company's history. So anyway, in 1971, he attempted to come back again after another knee operation rehab period. He was kept out of the first 3 games and then came back. He felt good. Unfortunately, though, in his second game back from injury, he injured his ankle in the first quarter, and he missed the remainder of the season. In the preseason in 1972, he fumbled a couple times and then decided to retire at age 29. He just missed the 5,000-yard mark for rushing with 39 touchdowns. He caught 9 touchdowns. He threw for a touchdown in 1965. And return yards, he had 2. No, he had 8 returns for touchdowns. He had 57 total touchdowns. What might have been if Sayers wasn't hurt. I mean, I look at things and I'm like, he could easily have been at like 11, 12,000 career yards instead of just under 5K. So yeah, he was looking pretty decent and all that to be one of the greatest running backs, if not the greatest running back in history, supplanting one Jim Brown. But yeah, his injuries were huge, and this is in an era where you know medical research was not, and medical technology was not what it is today about rehabbing knee injuries and all that. Anyway, he had a great playing style and all that. One of Sarah's biggest moments was being teammates with Brian Piccolo, who was diagnosed with cancer. Carcinoma, in fact. Yeah, anyway. Sayers and Piccolo became roommates in the NFL. And then, of course, the ensuing friendship with Piccolo was in the made for TV movie Brian's Song. In 1971, the original Gale Sayers was portrayed by Billy D. Williams. In 2001, they remade it with Mekhi Phifer. Sayers wrote in his autobiography, I Am Third, about Piccolo and his friendship. They were devoted friends and deeply respect each other, even though they were fighting for top spot of being the running back for the Bears. Piccolo was there with Sayers through helping him through his rehab after his injuries, and Sayers was by Piccolo's side through his illness until 1970. Anyway, Sayers actually was in the athletic department of the University of Kansas, his alma mater, for 3.5 years before he was made athletic director for Southern Illinois University. He actually founded a computer supply company in the Chicago area and all of that. Of course, Sayers would sue the NFL, saying that the league would be negligent during his head injuries during his career. That was in 2013. Sayers says he suffered headaches and short-term memory loss since retirement. And he had to be sent back in games after suffering concussions and all that. So anyway, that lawsuit was finally settled in 2017. He had a record. He had 22 touchdowns in a season, but that was broken in 1975 by OJ, who had 23. He still holds the rookie record for touchdowns in a year with 22. And Sayers, for a long time, for 55 years, actually was the last player to get 6 touchdowns in a game until Alvin Kamara put up 6 touchdowns on Christmas Day against Minnesota. He has the second most kick return touchdowns with 6. I believe Devin Haster's number 1. Anyway, Kansas retired his number 48 in 1977. And then on Monday Night Football, October 31st, 1994, the Bears decided to retire his number 40 alongside Dick Butkus' 51. It was just amazing what he could do. Unfortunately, because of his concussions and all that, and the blows to the head, he was diagnosed with dementia, and basically his football career ended, gave him the problem. Sayers would die from complications of dementia September 2020 at the age of 77, but he was still a fantastic player and was exciting. And if only injuries did not derail his career, what might have been. Anyhow, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.